And hello. Welcome to the podcast. Here we go. Christian here.
Antonio here.
Marissa here.
Reyna Garcia here.
And welcome to today. You ready?
Hey.
It's gonna be a good one for you today.
Our podcast is about American history back then versus now. So let's get started with Christian.
All right, thank you, and welcome to today's podcast. I will be discussing my cousin, who studied a decade ago, and surely things were different back in her day. Because back in her day, she went to her zone school. Now, back then, zone school did not mean a thing. It meant just the school that you were going to. But now, a zone school has changed the name of this game. Because now people go to where they see fit for their profession, per se. Like, for example, some people may want to go to a business school, some people may want to go to a fine arts school, some people might want to go to a magnet school, or they want to go to a dual credit school. But there are many places that they might want to go. But back in the day, they did not have these options available for the students. And I have to say, that's really changed the name of the game, because now we have a focus for each of our students that they can all focus on, which makes teaching them so much more easier.
Yeah.
But here to tailor it to heist is Reyna Garcia.
So, my personal experience is attending a dual credit school, and that's very much different than what Christian said, attending a zone school, because once you're in a zone school, they don't really teach you much as compared to us who attend college while still being in high school. So we basically get to have college credit, and we even take AP exams. So that's something that's very different from back then than from now.
Well, that's very good to say. And I know that heist is also an international study school, correct?
Yes, it is.
Have you gone abroad to go study?
Recently in August, I went to Italy actually. So that's something that many schools don't offer. And that could be very much said because even though I didn't pay for most of the cost, it was still something very important because I got a scholarship out of it. And that's not an opportunity that many kids are able to say that they've traveled abroad while in high school.
I agree. As you may have remembered from the last podcast, I got to travel to Shanghai, China. And I got to go on a full scholarship, full ride, up in the air, back at the wall, and then come in all the way back. So it was really a mind-changing experience and a mind-blowing experience.
I bet.
And that is something that students in the past did not have. I'm sure the rest of your sources also say the same thing, no?
Yeah.
Exactly. I know my parents always say, man, when I was your age, I wish that I had these great opportunities like you have.
Yeah, that's something that my mom always tells me, and it's always at the back of my mind because it's like I should be able to take advantage of the opportunities that I see best fit for me, you know. And you should keep in mind that your parents are always looking for the best for you.
And of course, some students don't take these opportunities and they just let them pass by. But the ones who actually get to catch them, well, that's how they succeed in the world.
Exactly. It's all about that success and knowing where to go to find these opportunities, such as now attending a dual credit school.
Has a dual credit school changed your views on education?
It has, because whenever I talk to my friends and I ask them how school is for them, sometimes I feel as though we attend a really competitive school because they put too much pressure on us. Or it's not even that, it's just that we have more rigorous courses, which of course some schools who have IB programs, they do too, so they can relate. But I feel like for people who attend a regular school, they just take regular courses, so they're not really taking advantage of the opportunities out there.
And that's very true. We're going to go ahead and switch over to Antonio now. Antonio, what'd you get from your source?
For me, I interviewed my mother and my brother.
Okay, that's good. What they say?
Okay, a couple years back, there used to be this big difference on how kids used to get out in elementary. It's kind of weird. It was like A shift and B shift. You used to get in at 7, leave at 11, then kids on another time would get here at like 11, then leave at 3. I kind of wish schools would do that more often because it seems better instead of just having kids there till 8 hours a day.
Yes, Marissa. Oh, thank you, Marissa, for that update.
Sorry.
I feel that we need nap time back.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Nap time. Let's take it back to pre-K.
Yes. And today at our school we had a great college career day, and although there was a lot of great acts and a lot to see, it is still pretty chaotic at high school, as we can see in one day, because we don't get breaks as often. It's constantly work. Not to sound like Rihanna, but seriously, we gotta work. Antonio, what else did your source say? Was that pretty much it? Or
No,
what are your views on what your source said?
I was actually going to talk about from my mom how school used to be. They didn't teach as many courses as they used to.
Yeah.
They kind of just stopped after algebra. They just kind of stopped teaching after that. And also for science, they just stopped at biology or chemistry. That's at most. So they don't really teach. They didn't really teach back then how many classes they gave us. How they gave us AP Cal, AP Bio, and dual credit, like Reyna said before.
Yeah, I feel as though now we have a lot of courses that they give us, so it's a lot of more options than they did back then.
Yeah, because, like, my mom always tells me, like, I don't know if you guys have ever asked your parents to help you with homework, but, like, used to. But
Yeah.
they'll be like, I don't know that. I don't remember that. Like, why are they teaching you guys this stuff?
Yeah.
Reminds me of a Medea quote where she said, "Matt, what is this algebra? Back in my day, we had 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic."
And before,
I didn't know I was so funny. Go ahead, Antonio.
And before we go to Andrew, I just wanted to say they also, instead of typing out like in computers, they used to use typewriters or just write them all out,
Oh
like their
yeah.
essays. So it was, I mean, they could do on type in computers, but it would be a long process since you used to put a floppy disk in to start the whole computer. And if you remember, we used to use floppy disk still, like when we were in elementary
Some
school.
people here do
I'm
not
sorry.
know what a
Oh
floppy
yeah, I
disk is.
remember.
No.
They used a floppy disk. Back in my day, we had USB cards.
Oh, you had USB.
We
cards?
had we had USB.
We
Maybe
had-
I went to a cheap school.
Yeah.
Actually, back in my days, we didn't use computers.
In my school,
Oh.
you rarely, but we just put floppy disk in and like type this little code and then it started out.
Yeah, mine was the same as Antonio's. We would put in a disc and then we would have to type.
I'm sorry. Back in my elementary school, we used a Starfall. So we didn't
Oh
have
yeah, Starfall.
Yes.
See, isn't that even changed? Now they have the big ABC mouse and all of that.
Mine's. Wait, I wonder if we're talking about the same one, because mine's, it was like this frog family. It was this frog family, and you would go on adventures with them, so you can go to the little picnic place. And I'm sorry.
No, that was not it.
That's how we learned.
But still, even between like in the same day, things were learned differently, and that's a really big point that we got to make here in this thing. Now we're gonna go ahead and go to Andrew Dieu with the next piece of article.
So what I found was that tuition in colleges have been raised a lot since the past 50 years. In 1940, or also the home value. In 1940, the median home value in the U.S. was $2,938. In 2000, it had risen to $119,000, and today it's just over $200,000.
Wow.
Even adjusted for inflation, the median home price in 1940 would have been $30,000 and $2,000.
Wow. Now that is something that I wouldn't think of.
Mhm. Like you can clearly see that times have changed and
Things are just not the same no more.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that.
I blame the government for just keep preying on money.
See,
Well,
and
they-
that
they-
is
no,
right.
I mean, no,
I
look,
think-
actually, our history teacher told us like not
Inflation rate?
No, every recession we have, they just keep, instead of letting it like do its natural course. They just keep turning out even more and more money. So right now,
Thanks, Obama.
for our next recession that we're gonna have,
Yeah.
Obama.
Well, not even then. It's been the past 2 or 3 presidents.
Guys, it's a joke.
It's not
Take it.
just.
See, people say thanks Obama
I mean-
because that's something that people say and it sounds funny.
I
But
guess.
it's really been.
Okay, let's
many
not make this
presidents.
political.
But like for like maybe the next recession, it's not gonna go well.
Yeah.
What I what I heard last year from an outside source, which I will not name,
Why?
teachers here
Anonymous.
teachers here can absolutely have to pass the student no matter what. So, what's a failing grade, like overall grade?
60, I assume.
69.
Anything
Okay,
below.
so if they have a 60, they have to make sure, like even if the student doesn't do any work, they have to give them a passing grade if absolutely necessary. There are some cases where the students fail because they're absolutely lazy, but the reason they have to do that is because it shows how bad your school is if you have a high failing rate.
Have you guys ever seen that meme that's like, on the top part, it's the parents getting mad at the kids, and on the bottom part,
No.
it's the parents getting mad at the teachers?
No.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's like it's reversed over time.
Yeah.
But it's like okay, teachers are not the only like bosses. They have their bosses who 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 have their
We
bosses.
get it.
Okay.
Okay, that's a little bit too much, but sure.
You shut your mouth.
But what's your point, though?
I'm almost sure you wouldn't bug.
Oh, so my point is
Excuse Marissa's
schools
language.
have now become more about money than they do on actual performance. Because schools need that attendance check to get that money to be funded because we're public schools. We don't pay to go to
Amen.
school.
Hallelujah.
That is so true.
Hallelujah. That is like the simple truth.
Yes.
Which is why I think, yes, we do have, people who are very smart and good performance, skills, but like, what is that really measured on even?
Work ethic.
Our saving grace.
I didn't get that award last year, by the way. No, first year, by the way.
Our saving grace is
Baker.
that we have teachers that are giving us the power to change the world. And I think that's a big point that we gotta make. But Marissa, let's go to your source. What did you find?
Yes, so I want to open up a big discussion, right? Back then, of course, during like the civil rights movement and on before that, there was segregation going on during schools back then. And there isn't segregation now, but there is something linked to it that is still
Kind of.
happening. So if you don't know what segregation is, it's basically when they separate the races and put them in different schools. So for a while, it was just like an all-white school and then an all-black school. But then the schools would intermix, but then you'd have a white classroom, black water fountain, white water fountain. So that's how it was. And I viewed that as, like, if you have to go so far as to separate race, how much do you actually care about people's education? Do people learn better when they're with other people of their kind? And what I wanted to link that to our generation is typically a lot of the times you'll see the same type of ethnicity and race at certain schools. Luckily for us, at our school, it is very diverse. But what I came from, my middle school, it was just all Hispanics. So yeah, I feel like that's, I don't know, a little weird.
I kind of disagree with you on part of this. The part that I'm disagreeing with you on is the reason. I feel like the root cause of it all is actually money.
Money. Why so?
Socioeconomic status is what I feel is the total reason of the problem. That combines both your reasoning and my reasoning. Here's why. I feel like nowadays schools are influenced by money because, they decide where they want to go. Back in the day, the rich people would pay to get their kids in a separate education.
Yeah.
It's called private school today.
Oh yeah, like from I Am Malala. Remember when we read it? That some of the rich people didn't want their kids going to school with people who were poor.
And that's why Malala opened up a big
Rally.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But
She
over
opened
there,
up
that
a
was
big.
because of the caste system. How?
But I mean, it still
It's
correlates
still,
to hers because,
yeah, it definitely still correlates.
because
What is
it's
the caste
still
system created by,
segregation.
Antonio?
Their religion. It was.
Money, economic status, and where they're at, and their type of jobs that they have. Exactly. So in the form I do, I kind of agree with Marissa though that I've noticed that a lot of people, depending on where you live by, usually you live by people who are like you, you know.
Yes.
So there's obviously, if the zone school is like by you, obviously it's gonna be filled with people who look like you. While as in, if you live in a rich zone, you will probably see more white people. That's just the way it is.
That's unfortunate.
I especially want to bring up the topic because I hear this a lot of times, and no tea, no shade, but our history professor, love him, he brings it up a lot of times, but there is some sort of shade on public school education
Oh yeah.
that I want to address.
Yeah.
I don't-
EDUKAYSHUN.
Yes,
Education.
I don't know why. For some reason, people want to look down on people who went to public school instead of people who went to private school. Sorry, sir, but I do not have enough money to go to private school and pay
Exactly.
$5,000 a year. I'm trying
And
my
that's one
best.
thing that annoys me of him because he's always looking down on public schools. Like even though I like the professor, I mean, I don't like the comment that he makes on it because I mean, we still attend a public school, but it's a dual credit, so there's pros and cons to it.
Yeah,
Our professor is wrong. Here's why. I started out at private school, and then I went to public school. Why did I go to public school? The education was better. Exactly.
sing
my
it,
point.
sister.
Yes. I was able to enter the Vanguard program, which was accelerated learning, to where I learned more. So it's not about whether you're paying for public or private school. It's not even about where you go. Like I know a big thing about the college thing is that, oh, I don't want to go to so-and-so college because they're not an Ivy League school. No.
Mm-hmm.
Heck no. The truth is that the student makes the school. The school does not make
Yes.
the student.
Yeah.
Yes, because no matter what, where you go, where you come from, or what, like none of that stuff matters. If you care for something enough, you can do it. If you put in the work for it, then you will get the good results. I came from a place that had unqualified teachers. Sometimes they didn't show up. Classrooms would be littered in paper, but I still came out successfully.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't let myself be shut down by a system of negativity.
I think it all depends on how much of a determination a person has, you know. Like, if you're not determined to succeed, then how do you expect to succeed, you know?
Yes.
You have to have that determination and you have to have that will and actually put in the work. You can't just expect to succeed out of the blue, unless you're really rich and you have the money.
Yeah. Andrew, any comment? Haven't heard a lot from you.
I agree with what she said, because
I mean, do
On
you
the
feel
fact
like,
that people succeed.
do you feel like it doesn't matter which school you go to?
well, yeah, I feel like it doesn't matter.
Why?
Because I feel like you could get the same education wherever you, or not the same education, but you have the potential to have the same education as someone in a different school.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know here at Heiss is the same. Like they mandate some stuff for us, but I don't even pay attention to just a mandate. I do what I see fit for my education, and that's the great thing about Heiss. You can do whatever you feel is fit. But back then, I don't think that was necessarily an option.
Yeah.
Per se.
And also, I feel that a lot of people have more opportunities because they get scholarships. Like, even if you were to want to go to a private school, you could get scholarships for attending. So it's not only based on economic status.
Yes. So, kind of to close this episode, I want to suggest a question. Do you think education is better now, or is it better back then? Hearing from each and every one of you, we'll start with Christian.
I'm really divided on this. because I've seen a lot change through education system, but I have to say now because we're more connected with the world. Antonio?
Oh, I feel I'm a bit conflicted on this because with technology in our hands right now, we seem to be getting lazier, and I don't think we're learning as much as we did back in the day. Like back in the day, we used to actually learn from books, and we used to study them over and over. And here in the internet, we just find the answers, and we don't even look for them or try. So
Yeah,
Some people are very lazy.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I do it. I mean, I don't do that. I do the orthodox way. Sorry.
Yeah, some people just
I
look
do
on
not
Quizlet.
cheat.
Some people just look on Quizlet for their answers, and that's what's wrong.
Mathway.com. I'm sorry.
Okay, Andrew, what you think?
I think education is better now because you get more. Schools provide better ways to learn and more opportunities, such as HICE, where you can study abroad and take extra classes at HEC.
That's very good. Reyna, what do you think?
I think education has gotten better in the sense that we're able to travel more abroad. We have dual credit schools. It's not segregated anymore. Yeah, but I do kind of prefer textbooks at times because I feel like I can rely on them more since technology sometimes fails you, you know? So yeah.
Marissa?
Yes, so I hate it to be like a majority vote, and we're only saying this because we're in education now, but I think it's better. I mean, is it harder? Yes. Do I go home and cry at night? Yes. But in the end, I think it's worth it. You are successful when you graduate from college. You don't necessarily, from high school, you don't necessarily have to go to college to be successful, but if you have the knowledge, you have the knowledge. And knowledge does not just mean school education, it means wisdom education as well.
Yeah.
So to say goodbye, Christian, hit it.
You know what? I have an